Hello everybody, this is Havoc, and with Thrones of Britannia due to release soon on May 3rd, I thought I'd go through the various factions of the Saga title, give a bit of a breakdown on potential strategies and gameplay campaign styles. We'll be taking a look at the faction starting locations, faction traits, and even faction-related technology that may help you gain a better idea of who you'll want to play as well as who you might want to avoid in your campaign. This will not be super in-depth, rather more of a broad overview with some quick and simple points built in. Let's begin with the English kingdoms of Wessex and Mercia. Focused in the most southern reaches of the British Isles, the English kingdoms have the fyrd benefit, where they can levy part-time soldiers to fight for them. The number of fyrd levy units is directly affected by how many settlements the player controls on the map. Stay under the limit, you'll benefit from positive public order and increased food production. Go over, and your kingdom will suffer, simple as that. On the battlefield, you'll see both factions rely early on heavy swordsmen and spears as their backbone, with axemen and missiles supporting them. The late game will see the English kingdoms shine strongest with their sword and axe infantry, while bringing some impressive cavalry to the field. All English military commanders will have a larger aura on the battlefield, and their armies will see a melee attack bonus when defending in a battle. Led by King Alfred, Wessex controls the entire southern coast of England and Wales through both its own occupation of land as well as several sub-kingdoms under its vassalage. Wessex's vassals are sworn allies, and as such they will always join you in battle. Even though Alfred is king, you'll have to manage the Witan, an Anglo-Saxon council that periodically provides a series of choices for you to make that will affect the welfare of your kingdom as a whole, with its own set of positive and or negative effects. And lastly, for Wessex, all generals of the faction receive XP each turn, regardless if they're in battles or not. From what's been displayed, Wessex would appear to be probably the easiest, if not one of the easier factions in the game. They start out surrounded by vassals that will always join you in battle, which is very nice. You could easily set up wars in which you could vassalize more factions, which in the end could result in a very small centrally focused kingdom with a ridiculous amount of outside support. That is of course assuming that's how the vassal system works outside of the original ones you start. I can't imagine it being any other different, as it would kind of suck if you only had those core vassals and then anyone out there could potentially rebel against you. On the campaign map, it's beneficial for Wessex to raid or hold out for sieges as long as possible to try and lure the enemy into attacking you, rather than the other way around. Your generals will always be generating XP, so you don't have to worry about waiting for a battle to gain XP, and the melee attack bonus for defending very much encourages you to take your time during a war. And then, should you lose a serious chunk of men during a battle, no worries, you have that fyrd levy unit system in place to quickly make up the difference, as long as you're careful not to go over the limit. Right off the bat, Mierce will be the much harder faction of these two English kingdoms. It is situated north of Wessex, bordering England and Wales. Mierce doesn't share the sworn allies mechanic of its southern neighbor, and with no access to the sea, it is completely surrounded by potential enemies. The King of Mierce will also have to manage the supply of gold accrued to his faction, distributing it at certain thresholds to appease the various parties that are within his realm. While it may seem a long-term campaign benefit, it's just not a financially sustainable one to be constantly giving your money away, which is why Mierce is able to dive very deep into the leadership tech tree to research divine sovereignty, which decreases the amount of gold you have to give, but they have the same positive benefits. Beware though that this tech also comes with severe diplomatic penalties, so if you're willing to dive that deep into your leadership tech tree, be prepared to take on a lot of enemies. And finally, all Mercian armies receive a morale bonus from the general while he is alive in battle. Mierce will need to figure out how to subdue Wessex if it wants to survive right off the bat. They can either do this through war, or they could try and maybe divide and conquer its various vassals, or maybe even through diplomacy, somehow convincing Wessex that it doesn't need to expand the only direction that it can, which is north. Expect a potentially long and frustrating campaign as you deal with everyone around you. On the battlefield, the English kingdoms will want to focus on their heavy infantry to get them through battles. Missile infantry will remain poor throughout the entirety of your campaign, so expect to use them merely to distract the enemy rather than to do some real battle-altering damage. Cavalry has the opportunity to provide some good flanks, but with Creative Assembly's recent major changes to the battle AI, I really sincerely want to hope and expect to both be countered by that, as well as flanked myself. So we'll just have to see. Guys, that's it for the English kingdoms. Hopefully you've gained a bit of insight into the kingdoms of Wessex and Mierce and how you might want to play as them in the campaign. I'll be looking to cover the other major kingdoms before release, so be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep up to date. Thank you for watching. This is Havoc, and I'm out of here.